Here's a week of lunches I made for my husband to stop him from spending a small fortune on food in London. I got out of my freezer some of the giant Yorkshire puddings I used as wraps before Christmas, and while they defrosted, I baked some plain chicken breast. If you bake it covered with tinfoil, it keeps all the juices in, and then you can save that cooking liquid to use in a stock later on. Please let's not be scared of making plain chicken breast. You do not have to cover it in lots of seasoning. This is the base for my chicken mix sandwich filler. You could also add spring onions, chopped up bacon, or even sausage and chorizo. He specifically requested I make more of these Yorkshire pudding wraps because they are the #1 thing to make all his work colleagues jealous. Even after being defrosted, they were still so fresh, and I made him 2 wraps for work. For a snack, I gave him cheese and crackers with some brie that was very out of date, but it doesn't matter because it smelt fine and cheeses mold anyway. I'd made the oat crackers a few days before, and the only thing that was missing was some chutney. I'd made these giant oatmeal and raisin cookies, which were literally as big as my face, and some milk to wash it down. He's on this health kick at the moment, only drinking soya milk. I have no idea why, I don't get it. And that was his first lunch done. The next day, I'd made my classic loaf of bread, just using plain white bread flour because my kids keep complaining I put seeds in it. This time I baked it on a slightly lower temperature for a little bit longer because I didn't want the crust to go so dark, and it worked really well. Always put everything bagel seasoning on top of avocado, and that was his chicken sweet corn salad sandwich. For one of his snacks, I was using up some frozen spinach I had from the garden as well as fresh spinach too. I grow 2 types, perpetual spinach, which is really hard to buy, and a common baby leaf variety called Amazon. I mixed it with some cheeses, mainly feta, and made it into borek or spanakopita, whichever one you want to claim it is. A few days before, I'd also made some red Leicester cheesy mini cheddars. They were supposed to be a snack for our children's lunch boxes, but you know when you make something and everyone loves it so much it never actually makes it into the lunchbox? Well, that was one of these. I gave him some cooked bacon to munch on too, and for a cake he had one of my beetroot brownies I defrosted. If you haven't guessed already, my partner has a very physical job, which is roofing. He always needs labourers to help him, but often struggles to find reliable ones, and it's had to be his best friend to the rescue for the last couple of weeks. On these days, of course, I make extra sandwiches for them to share. This was a boiled egg salad with olive oil mayonnaise, paprika, mustard, and chili oil to flavour. You can find all my bread recipes linked in my bio, and this was my bread roll recipe I made into a longer kind of ciabatta style size. These are pea shoots, which I got from the microgreens stall at our local farmers market in Queen's Park, and they are delicious with eggs. I made the second roll into a really classic cheese ploughman sandwich. Cheese and pickle as a sandwich filling is definitely my backup when I'm running out of ingredients in the fridge. A jar of sweet pickle lasts forever, and I always have cheese. For food in the morning, I gave them a few slices of this high fibre breakfast cake. Oranges are in season right now, and there are some beautiful varieties available, but unless they're organic, the outside is highly sprayed, so I cut all of that off before putting them in his lunch. I really thought there would be leftovers this time, but let me tell you, every scrap of this got eaten. By Friday, I would admit I was suffering from the most major kitchen burnout. He got shop-bought wraps with packet ham for his lunch. I'm just being real and showing you that I do not have the capacity to make homemade bread every single day. I did, however, make the effort to freshly bake some cookies from the frozen cookie dough in the freezer. Even though some of this was shop-bought, it's still cheaper than buying lunch in London.